All right, guys, welcome back into another episode of To the Show Baseball Podcast, presented by Beyond the Monster. I am your host, Andrew Parker, and today's episode, I am joined by San Francisco Giants pitching prospect Shane Rademacher. Shane has had a fantastic start to the year. He's actually thrown 14 innings already, and he's got a sub-1 ERA. So, I mean, I know ERA is not always the end-all, be-all stat, but still impressive nonetheless. And before I go any further, whether you're watching me on YouTube right now, listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is, please please subscribe. Helps me out a ton, and always appreciate all the feedback you guys give me. But yeah, I talk with Shane about, he came off a Player of the Week award and kind of what he was up to in the offseason, and kind of took us into what he was working on and how he's off to such a good start to the year. But yeah, without further ado, let's shoot you off to the interview with Shane. All right, I am joined by Shane Rademacher of the San Francisco Giants organization. Shane, you're coming off a fantastic week last week, where you had a Player of the Week award this early on in the season. I want to start there. Was that something that you even imagined this early on, or I guess how did it feel to have such a good week and be acknowledged like that by minor league baseball?
It was awesome. It was a real honor. Had a few good outings last year, but never got the nod for Player of the Week. But this past week, I mean, I had a good outing, but it always feels like there's someone better that did better. So I mean, it was an honor to get chosen for it. So I mean, I was just happy to have a good outing, honestly.
Yeah, and I know that that's probably not something that really goes through your mind while you're out on the mound. You're not like, oh, I got to get Player of the Week this week. But obviously, you pitch well and you do earn that recognition, and it's got to be like a cool feeling though to at least like see like, okay, like I see my name on minor league baseball throws it all over Instagram, Twitter, everything, and they're like, hey, these are all the Players of the Week this week, and you were there among all of them, and was it at least like a cool feeling to just see like your name out there along with like some of, I guess, a lot of other top prospects on there? So how cool is that to just kind of see like, hey, like I actually, my name's up there, and it's kind of cool feeling.
Yeah, I mean, it's an awesome feeling. I mean, it makes you feel like you're like, obviously, I'm not a top prospect. That's well known, but like, I mean, it's cool to see your name up there with some of the top guys that they think are top prospects. You're right there with them, so it's an honor. It's cool.
And so obviously, you're off to a very good start. Getting the Player of the Week award, and you're very early on in your season. But what's clicking for you right now? Like, what are you noticing about yourself on the mound to start the year?
I mean, I'm just simply just filling it up and trying to get weak contact early, and then if I get to two strikes, just trying to finish it off. I mean, that's been the whole thing my whole career so far. I mean, I've tried to limit the walks and limit base runners, and I think I've done a pretty good job of that so far this year, and just gonna try and keep it up.
So this is you're entering year two of your second full season of professional ball, and how important was that for you to get off to the start that you have? Because obviously it could have gone a completely different direction to start the year. So
For
I think
sure.
in your aspect, you got off to a pretty good start for the year. So how important was that to do that?
I mean, I think it's important. Obviously, the start is it's a good to have a good start, but I mean, I think last year, like I didn't have the greatest start, but towards the middle, I had a really good stretch. So then, like as I got towards the end of the year, I wouldn't say faded off, but just kind of like wrote it out and didn't really stick with it. So I mean, I'm gonna try and have a good start this year and just try and keep it rolling as long as I can.
And that kind of leads me to a little bit of your off-season prep before you got to spring training and the season started. What kind of things were you I guess targeting? Like, did the organization give you some things they wanted to do? Did you add a pitch? Like, I guess what did your off-season look like for you?
Off season was pretty basic, honestly. I mean, from the velo side, they basically just told me like throw harder. You throw enough strikes, you have the pitches, like you just gotta throw harder. And that was something I really, I mean, I tried to work on, and it's shown a little bit so far. I mean, I think I'm up just maybe just a half a mile an hour, or maybe just 1 mile an hour. But I mean, I really worked on my throwing every day, like in my intent. Some days you gotta keep it light. Some days you're really getting after it. pulling down with some of the boys in the facility back home, and it's in the weight room. It was moving weight fast. I mean, I did a lot of French contrast. My trainer back home, he's the best. I mean, we really got after it, and it was a lot of fun. And I saw a lot of improvements. Just in pretty much every lift that I did. I mean, we did a lot of testing, and all my numbers pretty much went up from the beginning of the off season to the end of it. So I mean, can't complain there.
And I guess to add on to that, what does the current pitch mix look like? Did you have you added anything recently? I guess, or what is it looking like these days?
So pretty basic, I would say, for a righty. I mean, four seam. I got a lot of carry on it usually, and good amount of run. So it plays even with the velo that I have. And then just curveball, and then slider and changeup. I worked on a cutter this off season. I haven't actually brought it out in game yet, but I mean it's something I've been working on in bullpens and stuff. But I haven't actually brought it out in the game. Still not comfortable with it.
So I'm curious about this because I talked to a lot of guys throughout a lot of different orgs, and I know, for example, like the Red Sox system, they're always pushing like a sweeper on guys. Like, say you get
Mhm.
drafted or added to the organization and you're in the minor leagues, they're like, hey, learn the sweeper. Like, we like that pitch. Or I think it's like a slider in the Twins organization, things like that.
Mhm.
So. For you with the Giants, so obviously you had kind of worked on a cutter over the offseason. Was that something that the team like wanted you to add, or was that more like, hey, like I think I could throw this and it might work out? Like, or does the team kind of give you like any pitches, be like, we think you should throw this?
Um, they didn't really tell me that I needed to add anything or any sort of like adjustments. Really, it was kind of just something that I felt like might help later down the line. You know, because like for me, like throwing that slider back foot to lefties is just tough for me. Sometimes I just leave it too middle. So having something that is a little bit harder, maybe not as much movement, but I could get in on lefties was something that I thought would be beneficial to me. Um, so still working on it. Hopefully it can work out, but we'll see what happens.
And I know you're pretty new to high A. I know it's
Mhm.
you're just a couple starts in, so I know it's a very small sample size. But based off your limited exposure now to high A, what have you kind of noticed? Have you noticed like a big difference from low A, or like is it kind of like where you thought it would be?
It's kind of where I thought it would be. I mean, the two teams we've played, I had the chance to play them last year, like the same affiliates or same team, I guess. So we played Hillsborough, which is the D-backs, and then we played Tri-City, which is the Angels, and we played both of them last year in low A. So it's kind of a lot of the same guys. So it wasn't such a huge change, seeing different guys. But I mean, I think there's a lot less swing and miss this year so far. I mean, I I think that they're making contact a lot more, which not a bad thing, just something you got to adjust to. But overall, I mean, not a huge jump, but just little things you notice.
And you're pitching in Eugene right now.
Mhm.
Is that? And I saw you were a North Carolina guy. Is this
Mhm.
the first time you've ever been up there in the Pacific Northwest?
Oh yeah, first time. I've been south my whole life, but it's a cool adjustment.
Yeah. Is there? I'm not. I wouldn't say like culture shock, but has there been anything that's like been interesting, I guess, about living in the Pacific Northwest? Because I've never been. That's like the only part of the country I've never been to, and so I can only imagine that it's just just a little different than the East Coast. So like, has there been anything though that stuck out?
The rain. It's like everyone says it, like the weather. It rains a lot more from what have known so far. I mean, I feel like we've been up there. We've been up there maybe like a full week, and it rained probably at least 3 or 4 days out of the week. So, and it was interesting. That was a different thing coming from Arizona in spring training where it never rains. So,
Yeah, very dry down there. It's like
hmm
polar opposite, I feel like.
for sure.
Yeah, that's got to be an adjustment period. I've been seeing games get like snowed out in the Northeast lately. I've been seeing like all sorts of things down in Florida, obviously getting rained out, but I can only imagine. Like, I think it's like comes as advertised as like Seattle known for like raining every single day. I think
Pretty
that's the
much.
thing. Okay. All right, yeah. I just had to ask because I know that obviously going coast to coast, it's still got to be
Mhm.
weird. I know that like obviously like friends and family back home, they're 4 hours ahead of you too. So I feel like you probably got some supporters from back home watching, listening to some of
Yeah.
your games, staying up a little late. So has that been the case for you?
Yeah, my mom, she'll tune in early in the games, and then she'll end up just turning it off and falling asleep, and then I'll have to text her the score later in the game. But luckily some of our games we have some early games at like 1 on like the weekends, and so the fiance and the parents are able to watch. So it's not too bad. It definitely makes like communication interesting, like just talking and FaceTimes and stuff. But it's something that you work around. And it's not a big deal.
Do you I don't know if this is like a hot take or not, but do you I guess like do you believe in like the jet lag and like does it take you time to get adjusted from like spending your off season out in the East Coast, then going to spring training in Arizona? Like do you get affected by the time change at all, or is it something that like it's whatever at this point?
So funny enough, I actually drove to spring training and I drove
Oh,
up to Oregon. So like the time change didn't really affect me because I was doing it day by day, so it wasn't as bad. When I flew, we would take red eyes, so we would leave at like 12, and I would get into Charlotte at like 5 a.m. and then get home at like 7 or 8, depending on the next flight to Greenville. But it definitely just like you're up so long, it just tires you out. So I mean, that was nice when I would have to do that before I drove. Um, but it's not really a big factor for me. I mean, it never really affected me when I was flying. So
have
I'm
you
sure it would if it was longer. But
So speaking of, kind of, long distance traveling, I'm
Mhm.
sure you're aware that the Giants. I think I saw like a graphic about this last year that minor league baseball may have put up. It was like of a map, and it's like of like if a prospect for each affiliate starts
Mhm.
at low A and gets promoted, and how many miles do they have to travel between affiliates? I think the Giants were number one, just because of
Richmond.
Richmond being out on the East Coast and then going back to the West Coast.
Yeah.
Is that like, do people like, I guess in the organization and guys that maybe you've played with, like, is that
Mhm.
like a thing that people talk about? It's like, hey, we got to like, you're out on the West Coast and then you got to like maybe get your car all the way out to Richmond. Like, is that something
Yeah.
that people talk about?
For sure. I mean, it's always a big thing. Like some of the guys are like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna bring my car out to spring training because I mean I may end up in Double A and then I'm gonna have to ship it all the way back." And luckily the Giants ship cars, I think. So, but still, it's just that hassle you don't have to deal with. But yeah, it's really funny because like say you need like an arm to go fill in at AAA, it's not the AA guys they're calling, it's the high A guys, so it's definitely interesting with having an affiliate all the way out there when you're big league teams out here.
Yeah, that is so interesting to me because you go from San Jose to Eugene to Richmond, Virginia to Sacramento.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, I wanted to know because I haven't really talked to any guys that have like kind of been through it, I guess, with the Giants. But I'm just like, how do you do that? Like, you don't drive your car from. Yeah, I don't know.
Uh-uh. They ship it.
Yeah, interesting. All right, so I talked a little bit about you winning Player of the Week. Obviously, it's not like the main goal here, but I don't know if you do have goals, like if you have like statistical goals or if you have like promotion goals, whatever you have that you want to hit. But what are some other maybe early season goals that you'd like to accomplish? I guess in the first half of this year.
I mean, my big goals coming in this year were, you know, keep my walks down. I think last year I finished like just under 30, which in like 84 and 2/3 innings, I think. So it was something that I really tried last year, and I want to keep that same mindset and keep the walks down. Keep the strikeouts as high as I can. Keep that ratio good. Other than that, I mean, I just try and keep the hits to a minimum, keep the opposing average against or whatever down. Um, just try and be as clean of a box score as I can. Like simply put, I don't have I don't have a certain number, like a ERA, like I want to reach. I really just want to try and keep the base runners to a minimum, keep runs off the board, and end up winning some games because of it.
All right, I got two questions left for you. They're both non-baseball related,
All right.
nothing too crazy. But first question here is, you have an off day every single Monday, and you
hmm
obviously have some free time, like right now, like before you head to the field and everything. But what do you like to do in your free time? Like, what are you doing on your off days or right now? I guess if you weren't on here.
I'll probably sleep in a little bit, catch up on some sleep. And then, if we got a group going golfing that day, we'll go out golfing. Um, if not, probably some video games, maybe some reading, some movies, just a chill day, really. I mean, you're playing 6 games out of the week. I might not be playing, but you're still watching, you're still there, you're still doing your pregame stuff. It's a lot, but I mean, just try and relax on those days and keep it easy.
All right, a couple quick follow-ups here on that. How's I don't know if you've had a chance to. I don't know what the temperature is outside. Is the golf scene up in the Pacific Northwest? How is it?
I haven't actually been yet, but I've heard it's a lot. It's very cool. Like I heard there's a lot of hills, there's a lot of trees, there's a lot of like fun stuff. So I mean, I haven't actually been yet, but we have this course that I think we're able to play up near us, which I've heard is beautiful. So I'm excited to play it, and see what it's like.
And then my second follow-up to that, if you are playing video games, is it the show? Like, what is it? What are you playing these days?
Right now it's the show. I'll mix in a little bit of Call of Duty ranked play if I'm bored. Need a change up, and then sometimes I'll mix in some NHL. I'm pretty sports guy, so just nice and easy sports games usually do it.
Yeah, I agree. My wife's always asked me, she's like, why are you like playing like, a Diamond Dynasty like over and over again against like the computer or whatever. I'm just like, I don't know. Like it's just what I like. I don't know.
Yeah,
Couldn't tell you. Do you have a real 99?
I do. I actually got it a couple weeks ago. It's pretty
How is
cool.
that?
It's fun. It's pretty good stats on the card, so it's a lot of fun playing online with it. Obviously if you give up a home run, you might get a message after and be like, "Oh, you stink," like blah blah blah. But it's a lot of fun. Cool to
All
be
right.
cool to have your own card. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like it's just cool in its own to just have it, use it, and you're just like, yeah, like nobody else has this card either in the entire world. It's a true one of one. So
yep,
I don't know. I love it. I every
yeah,
time I see it too. I've played against a couple actually so far this year, and Nick Sogard absolutely destroyed me. So
that's
shout out to
yeah,
him. He just got called up, but.
that's
Um,
sick.
all right, Shane. I appreciate the time, and obviously, best of luck with you going forward for the 2025 year. We're obviously wishing you the best of luck, but thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for the well wishes and the opportunity to do this. It's fun.